Welcome to Zero Hero, a short video blog from HBA and Compass aimed to make your Zero journey easier. Please note that all the slides today have been created from existing Zero training videos. Zero has rapidly changed in the past few years, so sometimes the pictures that are used are old screenshots or overseas versions. Where possible, each session is followed up by a live demonstration. If you have any queries regarding any content delivered today, feel free to contact me via email, victoria@hbaencompass.com.au or phone 0754 44 7094. Welcome to Quotes Using Themes.
The next thing we're going to have a quick look at is quoting. And quoting using themes. Now that really relates to perhaps different businesses within the one entity, or I don't know what else you'd use the different themes for, but different businesses with one entity. So the same as our invoice settings that we talked about a few weeks ago. We go into settings, general settings, invoice settings, and then we click on a new branding theme. From there, we give it a name of what we want to call it. We can play with it to our heart's content, or we can export it to Word and change it. We can add our logos. We can add or remove the cutaway bit on the bottom of our invoices. We can select the payment services, and of course you can put in terms and payments, and probably the best place for there is to put your bank account details to make sure that people pay you if you're not using a payment service. So what that means is if you're going to enter a bill, whether it be a quote or whether it be a sales invoice, it's the same process. So we go accounts, sales, a new either quote or invoice. So in this stage this is saying a new invoice, but we would now go new quote, which would say new quote at the top. We put the details in, but see the branding here? So we just click on that, click on the one that we want it to be, and then you can either save it as draft or approve, whichever you want to be. So in the days before Xero introduced quotes, we used to go into sales and do it this way, and you would save all your quotes as draft invoices, and then if someone accepted the quote, you would click on it and approve it and make it an invoice. So I know one client of mine has got, I think, $34 million worth sitting in draft invoices. We know their quotes, so I don't freak out every time I look at it. It does look a bit bizarre, but I know that they're quotes that they've had, and the reason they're leaving them there is if they need to re-quote the same person, they just go into that quote and then up the top go edit and copy and then type in the new details. So a lot of the stuff that they quote on's the same route. It's a transport company, so the same route, so they would leave all the wording in there with all the details and then just change the dates and the price. So before the days of quotes, that's the way that you would do it. These days we go sales, new quote, but you still want to make sure that you've got the right branding in the right-hand side. Okay, so you can see here that instead of saying invoice, it says quote, and then you email it to your customer. And as I said here, when they accept it, we go to sales, open the draft invoice and select it and approve it. But in this case, because it's the old version without using quotes, we'd change it back to an invoice template rather than a quote template. These days we go sales invoices, and there's another box down the bottom that's quotes. We click on the quotes and we hit approve. So much quicker and much easier, and one of Xero's better additions that they've made to Xero in the last 6 months. If you do for some reason do an invoice and you use the wrong branding theme, whether it be the wrong business or whether you've left an invoice showing as quote, it's quite easy, and it's the same as editing any other invoice. You find the invoice, you click on the options and hit edit, and then you just change the branding to what you need it to be. So let's go in and have a look at settings and general settings. So from here we've got our invoice settings. This here is where we've got our standard invoices. If we want to set up a new one, a new branding theme, we can either hit standard or custom.doc. Call it whatever you like. And then we can download our files to actually change them as we have done in the past. And you can see here that now there is an actual quote template. Which has invoice total, which automatically comes up as quote if you're using the quoting system. From here you go in and move your logo around and play with it to your heart's content to make it look how you want it to look. My name's Victoria Berry. I'm one of the directors of HBA Encompass. So if you need to contact me, my email address is victoria@hbaencompass.com.au, or of course our phone number is 0754 44 7094. Thanks for listening.